Okay, good afternoon. This is Committee Chair Kalila Slater Harrington. I would like to welcome you all to the October 14th, 2025 meeting of the Teaching and Learning Committee. If you have not already done so, please mute your phone. Anyone who does not mute their phone may be muted by the call moderator or removed from the call. Additionally, please turn your camera off if you are not a board member or the CEO and her staff. I would now like, I will now read a roll call of the board to identify who is present. Please identify yourself first before speaking for the record. Commissioner Chicas Guzman. Commissioner Kenyatta Bay.
We are working on connection with him right now, but he will be on soon.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Larry Simmons. Okay. And Commissioner Redding Lallinger is out for the day. Commissioner Woodruff. All right. I'd like to also recognize a guest commissioner to the committee, Commissioner Mohammed.
Thank you much. I appreciate you allowing me to join.
All right. I'm going to pause before moving forward. I know that we're working to get Kenyatta Bay on board, but I'd like to also give a couple of moments for the other commissioners to arrive. Tanisha, will you let me know when Kenyatta Bay is in the call?
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Awesome. Is that Commissioner Chicas Guzman?
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome. We're glad you made it. All righty. I'll continue on and we'll allow the other commissioners to arrive when they do get here. Members of the public who would like to provide comment to this committee can do so by written or pre-recorded testimony. Please submit your written testimony or your pre-recorded video the day before the committee meeting. Up to 5 individuals will be given the opportunity to provide comment to the Teaching and Learning Committee, and speakers will each be granted 3 minutes for their pre-recorded video or written testimony. And all public comments should address teaching and learning related matters. Individuals or groups interested in providing comment to the committee may sign up one of 3 ways. You can email public.comment@bcps.k12.md.us. You can call our board office, or you may also call the or you may also visit the office on North Avenue. Finally, the chat function during our virtual meetings will not be used as a tool for gathering feedback or answering questions from the public. If you have follow-up questions or feedback to provide to the board, please email the board office and the staff will provide a response for you. All right, I don't want to hold us up any longer, so let's just jump right in. As we open,
I'm sorry. Commissioner Slater Harrington. Commissioner, yep, you see her. Scott Woodruff is here.
Awesome. Welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you.
All righty. As we open today's Teaching and Learning Committee meeting, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that October is National Principals Month. It's a time to celebrate the leadership of principals and school leaders who play a pivotal role in shaping the professional growth of teachers and ensuring our new educators have the guidance they need during induction. It's also Learning Disabilities Awareness Month, which reminds us that professional learning must equip educators to recognize and respond to diverse learning needs. Together, these observances this month highlight the importance of strong, supportive leadership and ongoing professional development that helps every teacher, but most certainly and most importantly, every student thrive. With that, I'd like to jump into our agenda. Today's agenda includes an update on professional learning and induction. And I'm looking at multiple screens, sorry. I'll turn it over to Dr. Dabrowski, Dr. Swinton Buck, and Dr. Denisova.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Great. So I'm looking, Dr. Swinton Buck is joining right now. There she is. So we're excited to bring this forward and she will be making the introductions. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Swinton Buck.
Yes, I am pulling the deck over, but I want to flag that I'm not able to pull my video over. Okay. Looks like we are here. Just a second. Okay. Hello, everyone, and I'm Dr. Swinton Buck, and we are excited to share an update on professional learning and induction. I am joined by Dr. Denisova, the Director of Professional Learning, and we are going to share about our journey in professional learning and induction under the leadership of Chief Dabrowski. So thank you for having us. As always, we want to ground our conversation in our board priorities, which are directly, when we talk about professional learning, they are directly aligned to priority 1, 2, and 7. And we really are laser focused on providing rigorous, high quality instruction, as well as how we are supporting and retaining our educators. And then ultimately, what is the continuous improvement work that we're doing to ensure that we are providing equitable practices across all roles in all schools. Here is our agenda for our time and our presentation today. So we'll give you an overview of our vision, our priorities and conditions. We'll go into our systemic PL. We'll share some of our data. I will talk about professional learning for leaders, coaches, and our SSLs. And Dr. Denisova will come back and share about early learning teacher induction, and then how we're looking ahead and planning for this school year. I am now going to pass it over to Dr. Denisova.
Greetings, everyone. Just want to make sure we're not echoing as we're next to each other. So I would like to start our discussion about professional learning for teachers with thinking about the vision for our work. So as you know, the state of Maryland adopted Learning Forward standards last year. And so our vision, which is on the next slide, is really grounded in one quote that resonated with all of us. And it focuses on the professional learning as a form of equitable access for all students. So I'm going to read the opening of this quote. Effective professional learning ensures that educators at all levels have equitable access to high quality learning experiences, which are essential for advancing equitable outcomes for students. And if we go to the next slide, you will see our the work that we are very, very proud of. What's in front of you is professional learning priorities, which this diagram and the accompanying document is the collaborative work of a large group of district leaders and school leaders, where we sat together last spring to answer the question, what grounds our work? What are our joint commitments? And to what are we aligned? So you see that our ultimate focus is student. And this work is also aligned to the portrait of the graduates, the cycles of professional learning that I will discuss in a few slides, and also the learning forward standards. So why don't we go ahead and jump into the conditions of the success of this work. So to move away from theoretical implementation of the work through the actual in the trenches, boots on the ground implementation of quality professional learning, there are two things in place that enable us to accelerate and multiply our work. And here are these two things. First of all, we have been offering the design and facilitation of adult learning, or DFAL, which is a course for every professional learning facilitator, designer, and it is now required for all school leaders and district leaders who are designing and or facilitating professional learning. This 3-day course is our common ground, or the common denominator, if you will, in which we norm about what constitutes professional learning that is quality? How do you evaluate impact of professional learning? And how do you make the connection between the capacity building of educators and outcomes for students? And the second condition of success, or the key enabler, is the fact that we now have the Kick-Up professional learning management system. We are very, very grateful that we are now have access to this technological tool, which provides coherence, real-time impact tracking, fair access, and compliance, because all of our data and all of our professional learning opportunities can be found in that tool, and it's visible through dashboards for district leaders, for teachers, and for school leaders. So now that we have these two conditions of success, I'm going to talk to you briefly about key changes that are happening with systemic professional learning. But first, we're going to take a quick look back at what we were doing last summer. So we had a very productive and a very busy summer. What's in front of you are the numbers of educators, both school leaders, teachers and coaches and para-educators, who came together to a robust list, a variety of institutes, including design and facilitation of adult learning for school leaders. We had 187 assistant principals or principals representing 115 schools. Also 1,200 teachers, paraprofessionals, and school leaders who attended CAO Institutes in June. We also had almost 400 teachers who attended New Educator Summer Institute, which I will discuss a few minutes later, and also large numbers of educators who came out to HQIM training and Reveal Math and ALEX Institutes. And also we continuing the work of summer professional learning for coaches and lead teachers. And so now I'm excited to talk to you about the evolution that continues with systemic professional learning. And this year, we're implementing something very, very new and very, very innovative, where we use the cycles of professional learning, which are shared commitment between school leaders and coaches and district leaders, to align professional learning to 4 quarterly focus areas. Quarter 1, purposeful planning. Quarter 2, building student thinking through questions and discourse. Quarter 3 focus area is elevating writing across all disciplines, and quarter 4, refining and extending writing for transfer. These cycles of professional learning are the through line that are now connecting professional learning that is managed by school leaders and professional learning that is district-led. So the next slide is going to show you our theory of change or continuous improvement theory for this year. I'm going to read what this diagram means. If the district professional learning arcs align to the cycles of professional learning, and at the same time, schools establish school-based professional learning, including coaching and collaborative learning, also align to the cycles of professional learning, then Changes in teacher practice will be monitored via walkthroughs, lesson plans, and student work, leading to our ultimate goal, consistent best practices and more students who meet district goals. I wanted to emphasize this if and then approach, if and approach where we are now collaborating with school leaders on coherent implementation, planning and implementation of professional learning, both in schools and at the district level. So let's move forward and think about what is the data that we've been collecting over the last 3 years telling us. Well, the data is telling us that we need to change the way, what kind of data we are actually collecting. We, for the last 3 years, we've been very deeply focused on the transactional elements of implementation of professional learning. Namely, we've been collecting data around what is the number of educators that register for professional learning? What is the number of educators that attend professional learning and how many of them are registered? How many of them are walk-ins and why? Now that we've been able to establish this culture of accountability and the fact that we have KickUp to monitor this data for us, we're now moving towards transformational elements of professional learning. So in front of you are the 4 areas that we're choosing to go deeply into this school year. We will continue to offer a DFAL course to all teacher leaders and school leaders, and also offer follow-up opportunities for school leaders to share best practices, ask questions, and problem solve together. We are going to respond to feedback that's coming through KickUp that teachers want more and more and more time to practice together, to plan together during professional learning sessions. We are going to continue to use KickUp as the key lever for building culture of shared ownership, because all the feedback that is we're using to make changes to professional learning is coming through KickUp. So making sure we have more and more participants for professional learning actually submitting feedback form. And over the last few weeks, we spent hours and hours and hours revising our evaluation instruments so that we can take a look at the connection between professional learning attendance and transfer to practice, and also monitoring implementation of these shifts that teachers learn in the sessions at the classroom level. So if we could go to the next slide, these are things that you will notice if you take a deep look at what's happening with systemic professional learning this year. We are sharing days that are allocated for school-based professional learning and district-led. So 4 district days and 4 school-based days. Also very exciting news, because of KickUp, we are able to track professional development points, which is a new system for earning credits towards licensure renewal. Those points are now trackable in KickUp, and teachers who attend systemic professional learning and follow through a particular learning arc will be able to earn PDPs towards licensure renewal. We're also working across a variety of departments to break the silos and building inclusive collaboration so that teachers are able to meet the diverse needs of every learner in the classrooms when they leave our sessions and report back to their buildings. With that, I'm going to pass the mic back to Dr. Swinbuck to talk about professional learning for school leaders, school support liaisons, and coaches.
Thank you, Patria. So I am going to talk about professional learning for, sorry, we have some. Got it. Okay. I am going to talk about professional learning for leaders, SSLs, and our coaches. And as you see here, one of the most important levers for change is leadership development. And so when our principals, our SSLs, our coaches feel fully equipped, they really cascade that support throughout schools and classrooms. And we're excited about having the opportunity to really support our leaders in the work that we need to do aligned to our district goals. So you'll see here the leadership institutes that we facilitated last school year connected to our district goals and priorities. And then we also had June Leadership, which was a collaborative leadership institute that we shared with the schools office, where school leaders were able to participate in 6 required core sessions, but then they also were able to select over 35 choice sessions that were also geared towards our board, our district priorities and goals, but it also allows school leaders to select based on their specific needs and desires aligned to those goals. As you see here, our ongoing coaching for school leaders this school year, and we started last year, where we were really building foundational tools and practices of effective coaching and feedback, grounded in leverage leadership and getting better faster. Our school leaders were able to dig really deep into what does effective instructional coaching look like, and how do we provide that consistently across our schools. And so we spent time with that, and also personal leadership skills, and we brought that into this school year to build on school leaders' toolbox in effective coaching. We also provide early career leader experience. And so you'll see we have induction, what happens over the summer, where our new school leaders participate in structured high impact sessions where they really get the foundational information and resources to make sure that they have a strong start in planning over the summer for the school year. But then our early career teachers also get coaching, where they have a early career coach who comes in and provides guidance and feedback in a non-evaluative space focused on the personal leadership development. And then we also have Talent Development Tuesday, which is a cohort model where these early career leaders come together to really talk about strategies and feedback and support that they need to accelerate their growth in their personal development. When we look at our SSLs, they are the liaisons between district office, our content offices, and school-based staffing, our coaches and our school leaders. And so our SSLs are facilitating school-based professional learning aligned to our HQIM, our district goals, and instructional routines. Many of the times, our SSLs are supporting principals, coaches, in planning and collaboration. And Dr. Denisova talked earlier about our cycles of professional learning. The way that we operationalize our cycles is through our SSLs, who are providing on-the-ground support, job-embedded coaching in our school buildings. They also conduct school visits and coaching conversations, leading learning walks, and logging their progress and their interactions in the Kick Up tool that Dr. Denisova talked about earlier. Ultimately, our SSLs act as a connector, as I said, across the content areas and our leadership roles, and they are able to share exemplars, resources, and identify data trends across their CLNs, and really being able to provide strategic support that builds on overall coherence. Our school-based professional learning roles, our literacy and math coaches participate in the Summer Coaching Institute, and that is really where they dig into the principles of coaching and how they're providing customized professional learning to their teachers in collaborative planning and in their school-based PL. And so what you see here is that we have 131 literacy coaches and currently 36 math coaches. And the Summer Coaching Institute was an opportunity for those folks to come together to talk about any problems of practice, any challenges that they're facing, but also talk about those bright spots that they're able to leverage in their school buildings across their teachers. I am going to pass it back to Dr. Denisova to talk about our early career teacher induction and mentoring.
Yes, thank you. This is actually one of my favorite parts of this presentation, as I am very passionate about providing quality professional learning and induction for our first-year hires. So we're going to start the report on the early career teacher induction on the New Educator Summer Institute, or NESI 2025. This year, we piloted a brand new approach to NESI, where instead of 1 week experience, this was a 3-week experience. During week 1, we collaborated with the Office of Human Capital, when all our new hires reported for 1 day for first day experience of the day of pre-employment and orientation, where everybody received their credentials. So when they came to us for week 2, which lasted 5 days, everybody had access to curriculum materials, and they could start taking deeper dives into curriculum work, classroom management work, and also strategies to support all the learners immediately on day 1. Week 3 started with Monday, when all the new teachers reported to their schools. They spent a day meeting their principal, meeting their colleagues and their mentors, and then they returned to us for additional 3 days of professional learning in the science of reading. This was a very successful structure of the Institute, and we hope to maintain the structure moving forward. The next slide shows the summary of data that we collected, and I wanted to emphasize that these numbers represent percentages of new teachers strongly agreeing to the questions. 70% of respondents strongly agreed the facilitators model strategies that they can use in their classrooms. 75% strongly agreed that there were sufficient opportunities to ask questions and work with each other, and 57% strongly agreed that they were provided enough time to practice, to plan, to make sense of the information. And I attribute this success to the fact that NESI is planned and facilitated by 50 Baltimore City educators, teachers. Most of them are school-based educators who are very passionate about the work in Baltimore City schools, and they're able to establish this strong sense of community during NESI. And to wrap up our presentation about early career teacher supports and induction, this slide is a summary of the portfolio that our division offers to mentors and to early career teachers. And I will underline, highlight just a few. So in addition to the summer institutes and also a fall institute, or a makeup institute as we call it, we also offer a year-long PLC for international teachers. This is our 3rd year implementing this support. And also very excited to continue the grant fund from Hewlett to implement K-8 math, ECT, professional learning community for math educators in grades K-8. We also are using KickUp to log all mentor interactions, so schools can track and how many hours of one-on-one mentoring early career teachers are receiving. And also last year we were able to pilot our summer institutes for seasoned and new early career mentors. Next steps. This year we are engaging in a very new project, which is aligned to the requirement which issued by MSDE last year. So if we go to the next step, you will see a summary of 8 topics that are required, that each district in the state of Maryland is required to give access to every teacher who is in the district. So I'm going to read some of these requirements. Every teacher in Baltimore City schools needs to have access to professional learning on effective mentorship and teacher leadership, teacher collaboration, national boards support, science of learning, equity and cultural competency, supports for students, special education and multilingual learners, restorative practices, and implementation of HQIM. We spent last summer doing a deep gap analysis to see, do these professional learning opportunities exist? And if they exist, how can teachers find them? Are teachers aware of the fact that we have these professional learning structures? So good news, ladies and gentlemen, is that we're actually in full alignment and compliance. Baltimore City offers professional learning for every single bullet on the screen. However, the challenge that we found is that, as I said, teachers are not aware of how to find these opportunities. And also, we still, there is a certain degree of siloing in the way that schools interact with each other and district teams interact with each other. So as a problem of practice and as our solution, we created a new collaborative structure. And the acronym for this project is CONNECT, which stands for Collaborative Network for Nurturing Educator Capacity in Teaching. This committee is comprised of several school leaders, several teachers, including our Teacher of the Year, and many representatives of district teams who are the owners of the professional learning topics that we just discussed. We're going to be in working for the next 10 months to learn about each other's work so that every school is aware where these professional opportunities live, where they can be found, whether teachers can earn credits towards licensure, and how we can work together across teams and schools to make this professional learning more quality and really transfer this learning into classrooms. So we at the minimum are focused on giving everybody access to these professional learning opportunities, but we would like to go deeper, and we really want to make sure that this professional learning is not just accessible, but also of quality. This concludes our presentation for today.
Thank you so much for sharing all this wonderful information. I have some questions, but I am going to, as always, lean on my fellow commissioners to get us started with question asking. So, Commissioner Chicas Guzman, do you have any questions?
Hello.
Oh, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay, there you are.
Yeah. Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. I wanted to make sure I had just offered Chicas Guzman, Commissioner Chicas Guzman, to ask questions. Did you have any questions? I just wanted to hear from her, and then we can jump in with you. All right, I haven't heard anything from her. Commissioner Kenyatta Bay, jump right
real
up.
Quick question. Going back to slide number 24, one thing that kind of reverberates with me, especially when we're talking about training of new teachers, on slide 24, it only showed a 57% level of needing to, the ability to actually practice, implement. Implementation was down by 50. Everything else was in the 70% and 75%, which is a good response rate. But that kind of bothered me because that seems to be a hurdle that, I mean, you've done a wonderful job, by the way. I might want to start off telling you that. This has been, this concentration on professional learning has been spectacular. But it's the habit of being able to practice this. You know, they're saying they don't have the time to implement the theory that they're given. And this is that becomes bothersome because even as we move forward in professional learning, sometimes we find that there's a lot of theory, but very little time of implementation. And so how are we tackling that? Because it doesn't disappear.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay, for the recognition of the hard work, but also this data point. So I want to call your attention to, it was 57% strongly agree, and all of those data points were the strongly agree. If we looked at agree and strongly agree together, we would be upwards 80 to 90%. And so we see that as a strong indicator that our educators are getting the tools that they need to implement the next day in their classroom. But I do appreciate that you brought that up, and I wanted to clarify that that was a really strong data point that we wanted to share, because strongly agree is the highest on the scale. And so when we bring agree and strongly agree together, we were really meeting the mark.
So the question becomes, what is it when we bring them together? What is the percentage? Did you have those percentages there?
Yes, I can certainly get those to you.
Okay, because like I said, that's a disparaging thing. Not disparaging. That's inconsistency that I know that goes through professional learning. It's a challenge with professional learning that's constant, that, great, now how do I get the time to implement this stuff? And that's always a big, big question, So, as a teacher, I run through that all the time.
Yes, I agree. And you mentioned bringing theory into practice, and that is something that we have focused on in our professional learning arcs. And the use of DFAL and the principles of DFAL and adult learning really are aligned to bringing that theory into practice and giving people time to plan for that. So thank you. And I'll make sure you get those data points.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Woodruff, did you have any questions?
I do. Thank you. Thank you so much for presenting this information. I know it a lot to pull off institutes and weeks long and coordinating across teams. So thank you so much for that due diligence and walking us through that. I have a few questions. My first one is just a follow-up to Commissioner Kenyatta-Bay's question regarding the data. If you can, when you provide the additional data, can you just let us know the number of respondents in the data? Did everyone respond? Is it 50% of the people that attended the trainings? Just so we have an idea of how many folks attended, how many folks completed the survey. My second question was, could you, you on one of the slides noted some text when you were talking about the leadership trainings, and one of the texts was like leverage leadership, and I don't recall the other one. My question is, are those like the foundational texts that you're using? How have they been, if so, how have they been received from school leaders? And is there any exploration into other text or frameworks or principles as it relates to instructional practices at the leadership level? And yes, I'll stop there. I had one more about the last section that you shared, but I'll let you respond to the leadership one.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Woodruff, for that question. I see Chief Toze is here, so she can speak to the text, the grounding text that she is leading with the ILEDs and school principals.
Good afternoon, Kelvin Moore, Deputy Chief of Schools. So this year we've engaged in really being focused on the quality of feedback that our school leaders are giving and ensuring that they are working towards making sure that they are giving their teachers quality feedback. So we've engaged with working with the Leverage Leadership 2.0 and Get Better, Faster scope and sequence. So that helps school leaders identify where teachers fall and how they can better target the feedback that they give. That's been our major focus for the year. Our ILEDs went through training last year, our ILEDs and principal coaches. And then this year, our ILEDs and principal coaches are going through a second part, and then our principals are going through part one. So as we're on ramping this, we're trying to make sure that we build it out, but we want to make sure that we're also doing it at a slow and steady pace where our school leaders can ensure that they're engaging with it with fidelity and that we're coaching them along the way.
Would you say it's been, I guess, like the principles or those frameworks have been well received? And am I understanding correctly that you're using those texts primarily for the support that they give around supporting leaders giving feedback, or are you going into other aspects of those authors?
So the text that we're using really is for us to, I think it covers a few different things, right? Like I think it helps with sharpening their lens on identifying pedagogical practices to ensure that they're coaching teachers up around those things, but then that helps them give more targeted and quality feedback. And so one of the things that part one of your question is, has it been well received? It's actually been very well received. So much so that, we're trying to look for ways to incorporate more time for our school leaders to engage in the training, because they have enjoyed what they have been what they previewed and what they got during the summer, and what they're getting. They'll be getting more in November. But all of the feedback that we've gotten has shown that our school leaders are excited about this opportunity to grow their practice in this way. But one of the things that I think the text kind of serves multiple purposes. The text allows for school leaders to be able to identify and have more targeted coaching conversations to help teachers improve in very specific ways, right? And it helps sharpen their lens on being able to identify what is the area of focus for that teacher. One of the things that I will say also that I can appreciate about the Get Better, Faster scope and sequence, and that our school leaders are giving us feedback on, is that, I don't know if you ever heard that saying of even eagles need a push. Help our school leaders with those teachers who are doing well, being able to target how they can give them support, as well as identifying the needs of our teachers that may be struggling, and it helps them be able to pinpoint areas to focus their coaching.
Thank you for that.
No problem. Thank you.
Any more questions by any commissioners?
And just trying to follow up on Commissioner Woodruff's question, and as we're looking at the training of leadership, and it's a real quick question. We know that our whole vision of how teaching should be implemented has migrated over the years. And now we're moving toward an era where we're teaching more toward, I hate to say it, teaching more toward the data point. And so therefore, teachers are being instructed to move in that direction. And so how are we being able to bring these teachers along? They probably were taught, because new teachers are being taught in a traditional manner, right, in traditional environments. And yet they're shown these new capabilities, these new ways of looking at education. How are we integrating that into their training and their implementation of the training that they receive? And I mean, it's not a criticism. I'm just curious as how that's being done.
Commissioner Kiadabe, could you restate the question?
The question is where teachers are being taught we just went through an era of new methodologies and the implementation of instruction. Okay. And so therefore, as we're teaching leaders that were going through an older methodology, how do we morph that into a newer vision on how we educate our youth? And that's why I'm just wanting to know how is that being taken into consideration, the growth of education as we move forward?
Yeah, great.
Like,
Sorry, great question. So what I'll share is that the overall principles of adult learning and how we've prepared facilitators and prepared our sessions is that teachers are able to bring in their problems of practice, their bright spots, and a part of their learning is building on those things. So the session evolves in a way that there's a lot of teacher agency in that space, and we make sure that our facilitators are able to foster that through, collaborative conversations and structured discussions so that they can bring those things to the table and talk about that as it relates to our HQIM, our goals, and our priorities.
Thank you. Excellent work, by the way.
Thank you.
cool. I'll try to, we're just about at time, but I'm going to try to get in a few questions myself. So what structures are in place to protect time for collaborative planning and professional learning? We always have competing priorities. So how are we making sure that we're holding this time sacred?
So when we think about all of our professional learning, school-based and district-wide, as well as collaborative planning, are aligned to our cycles of professional learning. And so we have done tremendous work to build professional learning arcs that are aligned to those cycles. And then we also have the professional learning cycles that school leaders are facilitating and coaches are facilitating at the school level. And what's really important about this work is that it's all speaking to each other across all the roles. And so teachers are getting the inputs in collaborative planning and systemic aligned to our cycle. And so when you look at the purposeful planning, and then we're moving into building thinking and discussion. So at each time marker, teachers are getting the inputs and supports and continued feedback and professional learning aligned to that cycle, those cycles, as well as our school leaders. So when they come into Leadership Institute, they have a space to also talk about these cycles and build their toolbox with strategies and problems of practice in that space. So we're excited about the cycles because it has really brought our energy into one focus area and prioritize that focus area and how we're building everyone's toolbox around what it means to plan with the purpose. How are we serving our diverse learners? And as we move into cycle 2 at the end of this month, we are doing the same iteration where all of the routines in that cycle are the same, how we're looking at student work, how we are having shared learning around foundational practices, how we are doing our learning walks. All of those are staying the same throughout each cycle. It's just that our focus is getting tighter and tighter to our cycles and overall district goals and priorities.
Okay. How will we measure growth in school leaders? Not students, I said I meant school leaders, and ensure that there's equity of access to all of the professional learning resources across all schools. So it's 2 questions in one. How do we measure growth in school leaders? And the second one is, how are we ensuring equitable access to all of the resources?
Yep. So when we talk about overall leadership development, there are a couple of ways, right? We have our early career school leaders that work very closely with their coaches, but then also the ILEDs. And so a lot of our work is making sure that we are all aligned and we can have those targeted discussions about our school leaders as it relates to their implementation of the cycles in their own personal development. And I would say that doesn't sit in any one office. That is a cross office conversation that is had, and it really informs how we make adjustments throughout cycles and provide strategic support to specific school leaders or school teams that might need additional support through their SSL, their ILED, their principal coach, or our early career teacher mentoring office. And then the second question, you asked about equitable access.
Yeah, so that everyone has access to all of the resources. Well, I know from the professional learning cycle, but any available resources that are made to educators, how do you make sure that everyone is getting it?
Yep. So the foundation for our cycles right now, we have built out a Canvas page that everyone has access, school leaders, our coaches, our ILEDs, our academic EDs, everyone has access to the resources that are there. It's kind of like a toolbox of all of the resources that they'll need in every cycle. But in addition to that, we have the spaces for their own professional development. So our upcoming November Leadership Institute is a space where all of our school leaders come together. We talk about what did we learn in cycle 1, and then we're moving into cycle 2, and we make sure that they know where to find those resources and when they need assistance, who to call, whether it's their SSL or they're leaning into their support with their coach or their ILED, or folks who are in the academics or the specific content teams who may be able to provide them support.
I'm looking at the time. I want to pause there because I probably could keep this up all afternoon. Okay, great. I'm also checking for other messages from others. Okay, great. Thank you all for this very, very rich presentation. I will be following up probably with more questions, but not to belabor the conversation today. Great work, and we're ready to move on to our next agenda item. All righty, we're going to move on to procurement. So first up, are my friends from procurement online?
Sorry. Oh, yes, here and accounted for. Can you hear me?
Oh, there. Yes, I can hear you. All right,
Okay.
let's just jump on in. I see first we have
Jumping in.
Guild.
Yes, first up is 12.01, the Children's Guild. Do you want to continue with that regular format, or do you just want to go right into questions?
Regular format, please.
Okay. All right, let's go. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shabray Matthews, the Director of Procurement, and we have 5 procurement items for consideration. First up is 12.01, the Children's Guild. The Chief Academic Officer requests the board's approval of a contract with the Children's Guild to provide specialized instruction, related services, and administration to identified city schools students in kindergarten through 12th grade with individualized education programs or IEPs. The estimated total contract amount is $991,023. The contract term is July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Are there any questions about this item?
Commissioner,
Excuse me.
does anyone have any questions? I do not. Let's see. I don't see anyone.
No questions from me. Thank you.
Okay, great.
No
Okay,
questions.
no question.
Mhm.
Next is 12.02 Curriculum Associates. The Chief Academic Officer and the Executive Director of Teaching and Learning request the board's approval to increase the estimated total contract amount with Curriculum Associates to provide Elevation, a web-based multilingual learner program management system. The current contract term is December 13th, 2023 through May 24th, 2026, with 4 one-year renewal options. The board is requested to increase the total estimated contract amount, including renewal options, from $2,350,000 to $2,950,000, an overall increase of $600,000. Any questions about this item?
No, but I do have a comment. I've worked with Elevation. I'm sorry, go on.
My question was, and I might have missed this, why the increase? Like, why the increase before we're not even in the last year of the contract?
I can address that that question. I'm Maria Remore. I'm the Director of Multilingual Learners. The reason for the request is that the original contract and the original amount did not account for the increase in the number of learners each year, the number of multilingual learners, and the fees for the contract are based on individual student numbers. It's a per pupil pricing. So we've had to adjust with the anticipation of it increasing slightly every year as the number of students increases every year.
Okay, so it wasn't written with that in.
Correct.
Yes. So Commissioner Slater-Harrington, in the 3rd paragraph of the letter, is a justification that might be helpful as well.
Thank you.
Regarding the increase.
Thank you.
Real quick question on Elevation, please. Does it include in this increase, is it including all the module aspects of it? Because the Elevation comes as in a modular form. I wanted to make sure that it was complete. I have worked with Elevation software, And as far as our multilingual learners, it is a godsend. It works very well. But still, I want to make sure that we have the complete suite as we're increasing this amount.
Yes, the current contract and the increase account for both the platform, the management platform, and the strategies component.
Thank you.
All righty. Any other questions on this item? All righty. Moving on
Thank
to
you,
the next
Maria.
item. Thank you, Maria.
You're welcome.
Next is 12.03 Welch Education. The Chief Academic Officer requests the board's approval of a contract with Mathematics and Problem Solving LLC, doing business as Welch Education, for the purchase of ongoing assessment project math, or OGAT math, professional learning services, and associated materials and resources. The estimated annual amount of the contract is $400,000. The contract term is October 22nd, 2025 through October 21st, 2028, with 1 2-year renewal option.
Any questions, commissioners?
No questions here.
No questions.
Okay, next is 16.01 Teach for America. The Chief Human Capital Officer requests the board's approval to renew the contract with Teach for America to train new core members, provide professional development for first and second year members, and recruit and select at a minimum 70 and at a maximum not to exceed 130 members annually. The estimated total amount is $3,795,495. The contract term is August 31st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. Are there any questions about this item?
I don't have any questions. Looks like Commissioner Kenyatta Bay has his hand raised.
Yes, I just wanted to know about effectiveness record, because as I look at the effectiveness record, it's been kind of like for Teach for America, it's been up and down, up and down. So I wanted to make sure that we are on an upward swing with Teach for America.
Hey, Commissioner
Hello,
Kenyatta Bay. Oh, I was just going to reference the data that we looked at in closed session a few weeks ago about the retention, the evaluation, and the student achievement data for the pipeline programs.
And that's directly what I'm referring to.
Yeah. Yes, so I'd be happy to follow up offline if you want to talk through that a little in more detail. Besides the retention, we're seeing comparable results across our pipeline programs.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. Any more questions? Okay, seeing none. Shabray?
The last item on the agenda is 19.01, the Mayor's Office of Employment Development. The Chief of Schools requests the board's approval to contract with the Mayor's Office of Employment Development to continue a credit recovery program for 9th through 12th graders at the Youth Opportunity Yield Academy, utilizing MOED's expertise acquired over the past 18 years in the implementation of a comprehensive youth development model for overaged and undercredited students who need a supportive program to assist them in meeting graduation requirements. The estimated total contract amount is $223,428.35. The contract term is July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Any questions about this item?
No questions.
No questions for me.
Okay. Anyone else? Questions from anyone else? Okay. All right. Shabray, that might have been the easiest procurement portion that we've done.
So makes sense. Well, thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
All right, moving us along. Our next meeting is Tuesday, November 11th, where we will be focused on special education, which I'm excited about. We will have a compliance report on curriculum. And as a reminder, if you are interested in giving a written or recorded public comment, please contact the board office. And until then, be safe and be well. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.